Elite's Commando is the licensed version of the classic Capcom arcade game, which captivated the majority of us Commodore 64 owners all over the world. An epic conversion it is too, from the awesome Chris Butler, who definitely had a skill for arcade ports back in the day. In a nutshell, the game places you in the role of a super crack commando unit, with a mission to penetrate deep behind enemy lines and destroy their well-guarded fortresses. These missions take place over a vertically scrolling landscape, and you are armed with a submarine gun and a few grenades, and have to take on the entire enemy army single-handedly. Memories of patiently hovering over the spacebar waiting for my brother to prompt "Grenade!", which was my cue to quickly tap it so the Commando would lob a grenade in the way he was facing. Generally, this could have been done by himself, but as memory serves me right, he'd want to get me involved in the action, but didn't trust my skills at controlling the Commando himself, as I'd usually just walk into a barrage of bullets. The Grenade Boy was a role which brings back some very nostalgic memories. I love that role, as mundane as it may seem, as it felt like we were completing the game together. The grenades can be collected by walking over the glistening, brick-like objects lying around on the ground throughout the battlefield. Without these, you were reliant on just your skill and reflexes with the machine gun to survive the onslaught. When you approach a fortress at the end of each level, its doors will open and loads of soldiers pour out, spewing bullets from their guns and lobbing grenades all over the place. To take these fortresses, you have to destroy every soldier you can see. Not a trivial task by any means, but it does get pretty hectic later on. When you've killed all the soldiers, your man automatically runs through the fortress gates, and a message of congratulations is printed up on screen and you're taken to the next area. Each area has its own features and hazards. Level 1 is comparatively easy, but by the time you reach level 3, the going gets pretty tough as you face further obstacles that will thwart any hopes of a swift progress. Naturally, there are loads of enemy soldiers swarming all over the place, but luckily they're only armed with single-shot rifles and grenades. It's just their sheer numbers which can often become overpowering. There are specialist weapons used by enemy soldiers such as bazookas and mortars, but the mortar bombers don't cause too much of a threat since they can only fire one pretty inaccurate shot at a time. Bazooka carriers, which appear on the second level, are pretty deadly and fire round after round of lethal shells which can be difficult to dodge, especially if there's a couple firing at once. Vehicles occasionally make appearances too, such as trucks, jeeps and motorbikes. You can easily avoid these and let them pass, but you can also destroy them with a well-aimed grenade. These trucks can cause problems as they carry brown uniformed enemies who jump out of the back and begin shooting you. Area 1 is pretty deserted, with only a few trees and hills, and there is a bridge with enemies lobbing grenades down on you. Enemy soldiers wait to pounce on you once you reach the other side of the bridge, and there are rocks which the enemy use for cover. If you have grenades, this is where they come in handy. After these are all dealt with, you'll come to the first mini-fortress. Claim this and then lead on to Area 2, where things start getting a little more interesting. Foxholes filled with soldiers block your path, and the only way to kill the soldiers is by lobbing grenades on them. While you're trying to do that, they're busily unleashing machine gun fire onto you, just to make your life a misery. There's also 2 bridges on this level, one to go under and one to go over. Buildings and bunkers start to make an appearance too. Area 3 has all the hazards found in the earlier sections, only in far greater numbers. And here you're forced to cross an airport which has lookout towers complete with machine gun wielding soldiers at the top. Great gangs of bazooka carriers are also a pain here, as they emerge from each side of the screen and fire their shells diagonally, making them very difficult to dodge. After a long time in development, Nostalgia presented an improved version of Commando. Much of the code was newly written, a lot of old code was bug fixed, and a lot was added to the game to make it the ultimate home computer version. I definitely recommend you try this version out, as it's longer and more similar to the original arcade version. I wish we had this version back in '85. Mind you, we didn't have long to wait until Rambo came out, and that was a blooming awesome game too, so we were pretty spoilt really. Commando refined the vertically scrolling shooter genre into a brilliant run and gun action adventure, and this game was the defining moment for me and my brother to finally get some cooperative play going without him hitting me around the chops. Also, it sports one of the best known soundtracks on the Commodore 64. Even though there's only 4 songs in the entire game, many praise the soundtrack by Rob Hubbard, and it has to go down as one of the all-time greats. According to Hubbard, he was hired by the owner of Elite, Steve Wilcox, to create the game's audio. The two went out to a pub, and then Wilcox left a 30-year-old Hubbard in the office around 10 PM to create all the game's audio. While he chose not to adapt Tamayo Kawamoto's arcade score, he did borrow the motifs from it. Around 5 AM, Hubbard had completed working on all audio in the game and left the office. He also ran the song on all the computers in the office so everyone could hear his music.
Steve Wilcox, he called me up and told me to get on a train straight away. Got like the 4 o'clock train was the earliest train I could get down to Birmingham, and then we spent the day in the pub, and then they went home and left me in the office at, 10 o'clock at night or something. And there was an arcade machine there which had the Commando, so I had a quick listen to that. And I thought, okay, I used a little bit of the motif from the arcade machine. I had my little Casio keyboard and my score paper. I always used to have this score paper like that, big, proper score paper to write stuff down, which was, I used to work that fast. It was basically some musical notation splattered with lots of hexadecimal numbers, which related to, the actual pitches and sound patches and all this stuff. About 5 o'clock in the morning, I finished all the music, started working on the sound effects, and by the time they came in at 8 o'clock, I had it all done and got the train back.
But let's not also forget Mark Cooksey's fantastic Trans-X cover on the cassette loader. Pure nostalgia. Commando is one of those games you just have to own for your Commodore 64, and has to be right up there as one of the true classics. So I'll definitely be giving this one a big thumbs up. Oh, and before I forget, it also had to be renamed in Germany to Space Invasion, and the characters were changed to these little space fellas. However, both Commando and Space Invasion ended up getting banned in Germany eventually anyway, in 1987 and 1988 respectively, which kinda sucked. Thanks for watching guys, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you thought of Commando in the comments section. Did you prefer Who Dares Wins 2? Or maybe Ikari Warriors was the one you liked best? Check those out on the channel playlists, and remember, if the game you are looking for is not on the channel yet, I'm sure it will be soon. Stick around and maybe consider subscribing to the channel as we continue on this epic journey down memory lane. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, bye for now.